Paul Ryan's also speaking at CPAC, and he's going to claim a couple of interesting things. First of all, he claims that the Democrats are out of ideas, and he says, quote, "We will be the party of ideas." But Paul, what's your ideas? You've got two things: war and cut taxes on the rich. That's your foreign policy and your domestic policy. That's the same for the last 40 years. Did he propose anything new at the speech? Of course not. What ideas? What are you talking about? That makes no sense. He went on to say, I'm optimistic about our chances because the left just isn't out of ideas. They're out of touch. Take Obamacare. Not literally, but figuratively here, okay? We know that this law will discourage millions of people from working. The left thinks this is a good thing. Now, but wait a minute. You just said the left was out of ideas. But then you talked about Obamacare. Well, that was an idea. That was a huge idea, and it got implemented. You might not like it, but you can't say they're out of ideas. Now, what was your proposal to fix the health care in this country? Oh, right. Nothing. Nothing. They have no new ideas. All they are is rhetoric. That's all they ever do. Then he went on to tell one of the biggest bullshit stories I've ever heard. He talked about this little kid. We're going to show you the clip in a second. And as a prelude to that, he said, you know, the Democrats, all they want you to do is, quote, have a full stomach and an empty soul. Okay, look, you worry about your soul. You let me worry about my soul. Full stomach doesn't sound so bad, right? It's not a great campaign slogan. The other guys will give you a full stomach. We won't, but wait, is that a good idea? Not really. And then get a load of this horse crap.
You know, this reminds me of a story I heard from Eloise Anderson. She serves in the cabinet of my buddy, Governor Scott Walker. She once met a young boy from a very poor family. And every day at school, he would get a free lunch from a government program. He told Eloise he didn't want a free lunch. He wanted his own lunch. One in a brown paper bag, just like the other kids. He wanted one, he said, because he knew a kid with a brown paper bag had someone who cared for him. This is what the left does not understand.
Oh, go. Who believes that story? A little kid comes up to a politician and says, I don't want a free lunch. Please take my food. I was about to eat it, but please take it, Mr. Politician, and give it in the form of tax cuts to the rich. That's what little Johnny said. My ass, he said that. Okay, now look, these free lunches, they come at a certain price. They do. There's stigma attached to it. We know that. That's real, right? So, for example, honestly, we talked about it in our production meeting this morning. The chief operating officer of this company is Steve O. And when he was younger, they had just come into the country from Korea. They were incredibly poor, and they needed help from the government. And he got a free lunch program through the government. Now, later, they worked super hard. His dad ran their own 7-Eleven, and he got a good education, etc. But they needed that hand up at that moment. And he said when you used to get in line for that, it was embarrassing. Yeah, you didn't want that, right? And so it's not like these families and these kids are like, yes, free lunch is handed out by the government. We love it. Oh, we're going to vote for Democrats. No, they get that because they need it. And at the same time, Paul Ryan's look at this as comical. Like, that kid who's hungry is going to turn down that lunch that he needs so that he can have something in his stomach so he can study. They're not going to turn it down because they need it. They desperately need it. They wouldn't ask for it if they didn't need it. They don't want to stand on that line. But his idea that the kid's like, no, please, Mr. Republican, take my lunch and my lunch money. I want to give it to you because I want someone who cares about me. Who's going to be? Walker? Paul Ryan? That's going to be the guy who cares about you? Nah, it's ridiculous, man. There's no conspiracy to get these kids addicted to our lunch so then they'll be voting for Democrats from then on. That's just insane way of thinking. Maybe that's the way they think because they're addicted to their donor money so that they think, well, like, I don't know, I get the money from all these rich guys and I'm addicted to it. Maybe the left is doing the same thing to hook these kids to become Democrats forever. No, you do it because we're decent human beings. And we know that sometimes when you're hungry, you just need a little bit of food in your stomach, and that if you have that chance and you can get an education, maybe you can make something of yourself. You know why? Because they're decent human beings.